Well, I definitely appreciate the eloquence and the brilliance of those words right there, Big Perk, because the fact of the matter is you're absolutely right. The New York Knicks will win tonight. They will go up 2-0. And Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo won't combine to shoot, what the hell was it, 11 for 36? That ain't going to happen in back-to-back games. You can scratch that dream. You heard about that kid, Deuce McBride? I don't know if you heard about him. Did you hear about him? I heard about him. Let me tell you something right now. 21 points. 57%, 58% shooting, 5 or 7 from three-point range. Started the season as a third stringer, but look at what the brother is doing now. The big boy, Mitchell Robinson, comes in. Forget the 8 points. How about the 12 rebounds and the 4 blocks? We're going to pay attention to that right now because that kind of stuff matters. And I'm looking at it, and just like you said, the New York Knicks didn't depart from that game happy. That's bad news for the Philadelphia 76ers because even though they won the game, they don't necessarily feel like they won the game because they were disgusted with how they played because they know they could play better. On top of that, Joel Embiid gets hurt. And I'm telling you right now, this kid Maxey is something special. He going to have to come save the day. Maybe Tobias Harris or somebody else or Cully Uber and somebody going to have to step up. But maybe they'll save that for Philly at the Garden tonight. Game 2, Shay, Big Perk, with your boys sitting courtside. I mean, the New York Knicks are going to go up 2-0. 2-0. It goes up 2-0, and then the Sixers will have the daunting task of having to win 4 of the next 5 in order to win this series, which ain't going to happen.
All right, so let's talk about this. If Embiid is able to stay healthy, and every time we talk about this, the question is always if Embiid can stay healthy. If Embiid can stay healthy, then I think that the Sixers can take game 2. Every single home game, the home team won. Every single playoff game this past, over the weekend, the home team won. And actually only 2 games were ever actually close. And that was OKC versus the Pelicans and the Sixers versus the Knicks. All the other games were essentially blowouts. Even if they seemed close at the time, they never none of the other teams ever had a chance at legitimately winning outside of like very early on the game. But at the end of the game, there was only 2 teams that actually had a chance to win, and that was the Sixers and the Pelicans. So that tells a lot to me. That shows a lot to me. That shows that the Sixers were prepared and ready to go. And, the Sixers technically had a little bit less rest than the Knicks. And yes, I understand that Brunson had, not a great game. But you can't just pick and choose those numbers. That always drives me crazy because some of the Knicks role players were also shooting the lights out of the ball. They were looking like Brunson. They were looking like Steph Curry out there. So you're not going to expect them to be able to shoot that well either. So these things end up balancing out. Okay? So again, the big elephant in the room, the big giant 7'3", 280-pound elephant is if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, then I do believe the Sixers will win this game and take game 2. If not, if he's banged up or if he's sluggish or if he really is hanging on by a thread, then yes, then I think the Knicks win this game and I think they win the series quite honestly. But it's hard to know what Joel experienced in that moment. Again, as you guys know, any of the regular viewers of this channel know that I've talked about that I've had my meniscus repaired 3 different times, all 3 times, felt differently. But I know what it's like to tweak it, so to speak, and it feels like you re-injured it. It feels hurt. It feels like, something bad happened, and it's just more of a mental thing, which is why he left, and then he was able to come back out. And yeah, he didn't look amazing, but he wasn't like limping. So when people say that he re-injured himself, that's not accurate. He didn't re-injure himself. It was just more like he got slapped in the face, and now you kind of feel that sting on your cheek. That's really honest. That's honestly, I just made that up right now. That's really actually one of the best analogies that I can give for those of you who maybe have not experienced an injury or a surgery where it's healed, but it's just this like reverberation. Almost all of my injuries that I've ever had, my clavicle, my knee, I've had many moments where it's like, oh my God, did I just re-injure it? And actually the one time even my clavicle, I remember going to the doctor and I was like, I think I may have, re-injured it, and they x-rayed and they're like, no, everything is exactly the same. That's the way it is. There was times with my knee that I thought, because when you get your meniscus repaired, it's actually stitches like inside of your body, sutures. And there was times that I was like, oh my God, I think I ripped the sutures out. Like, what did I just do? And it's like, no, everything's fine. So that's just what happens during that recovery process. Maybe for those of you who have not had like a big major injury or surgery, another good example would be is if you cut yourself, right? You have a cut and you have a scab or whatever, and maybe you got hit there again or you scrape it again, and it feels like you feel that pain, and it feels like maybe it's even like bleeding again, and you look at it and it's not. It's a little red, but it's not broken again. It's not like the scabs hasn't ripped open. There's not blood and none of that, but you could tell, okay, I injured here. That's what it is. So he didn't necessarily re-injure himself, and his conditioning was better than the last game, and that's what I kept saying. His conditioning is going to continue to get better with every game. He's going to continue to get stronger and stronger. And actually, his knee, if he did kind of, smack it as I said, it actually continues to strengthen it because he's stressing his knee in a way that he wasn't used to. So when you do rehab, you're rehabbing your body, and let's just stick with the knee because since that's the injury, you're rehabbing it in a very controlled environment, right? Your knee wants to just ultimately just go like this, right? Just wants to bend, bend and extend, bend and extend, bend and extend. It doesn't want to do any of this more wobbly type of stuff, but that's not how life is. And so what it is that when you're doing recovery, you do want to keep it not from being wobbly, even though that's just ultimately going to happen in life. You just strengthen it in this, fixed plane of motion. Now, that's why even they have these braces that you wore, that I've worn, and you can see that he wears under. What it is it allows it to bend, but it's supposed to stop. There's like these, brackets on the side of your knee that kind of stop it from being able to buckle, left to right and in and out, to keep it just in this, fixed plane. But as a lot of good physical therapists will have you do, is they talk about how some of the best physical therapy is to walk, especially once you're healthy enough, to walk on uneven surfaces. They put you on those, certain balance boards and balance beams, because it's now stressing your body and your knee in a more 360-degree plane of motion, something that's more normal, that's going to happen in everyday life. And I'm sure he was doing that type of stuff to a degree. So that's what he's kind of experiencing right now. He landed in a way that he had never landed throughout his entire process of physical therapy. And so now the repair was like, ugh, like I don't love that. I haven't experienced that before. And a lot of it is actually scar tissue. It's actually just the scar tissue being compressed in a way that it was like, hey, like this isn't how we've been healing. And it's actually good because it actually lays down the scar tissue and trains the scar tissue to lay in that pattern of the motion that you want it to do. In a lot of ways, another good example that I can use is, and this is definitely a silly example for any of you guys who have seen Rookie of the Year, where he hurts his shoulder, I forget what injury it was, and then it stiffens, and it's because of the scar tissue, and so now he can throw the ball and it shoots forward, right? That's in a lot of ways similar to what's kind of happening when you're recovering your body. And in your knee, with his meniscus specifically, is that, your body heals in a very specific way, and it doesn't want to budge in any of these other directions. And when you do, it kind of gives pushback. It gives that resistance. That's what he was experiencing. That's why he was like, oh my God, oh my God. But then like after halftime, he was right back out there on the court and was running up and down. So I think as long as he continues to stay healthy and his conditioning improves, I think that the Sixers have a real shot, at the very least, of making this a competitive series. Now, if they just get walked off the face of the planet and they just get run off the court, I will reevaluate that. I'm not predicting that because I do think Joel Embiid, really wants this. And I think the team is, this is arguably the best team he's had around him. And so I think they're motivated. And I think they also know that they want to work through Joel Embiid, but they know that they can't 100% rely on Joel Embiid. And seeing what happened on the other day was a big reminder, another smack in the face, so to speak, of like, all right, Maxey, we really need to find the way to work maybe the game through Maxey. All right, you listen, I know you're a little bit older, Lowry, but like we're gonna really need you to step up. Tobias Harris is a very inconsistent player, so you can never really depend on him. But I just think that they're going to take it from a different angle this game. So I'm really curious to see what this game looks like, quite honestly. I really don't know, but I think it's going to be another competitive game. And the fact that it was so competitive on Saturday said a lot to me, because you saw these other teams completely roll over when they were playing. The Lakers never truly looked competitive, kind of early on, but not really. Dallas Mavericks got destroyed. They scored 30 points in the first half. I mean, just an absolute disgrace. The Milwaukee Bucks won without Giannis against the Pacers. The Pacers looked terrible. I mean, seriously, I mean, it was just poor basketball in so many different games, except for the Knicks, Sixers, and the Pelicans, OKC. So, but those are just my thoughts. That's the way I see it. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Do you think the Knicks will go up 2-0? And do you think the Sixers actually have a legitimate chance at winning this series? Let me know in the comments below whether you agree with me or disagree with me. I read every single comment. So let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.